Our movie choice for this assignment is Fatal Attraction. We chose this because of the excellent reviews and neither of us had seen it before. Fatal Attraction is a psychological film about Dan and a successful lawyer in New York who is married to Beth with a 6-year-old daughter named Ellen. One weekend, Beth and Ellen went out of town, and Dan had a passionate affair with the editor of the publishing company, Alex Forrest. Afterwards, Alex was unimpressed that Dan was a married man and quickly established an intimate relationship with him. After Dan spent this time with Alex, he tried to break off the relationship with Alex, but she refused to let the affair end. She begins to become very abnormal and dangerous and starts to cling on to him. For example, she slits her wrist before Dan went home, stated she was pregnant, killed Ellen's rabbit, and kidnapped his daughter. Dan tries to hide all the secrets to preserve his happy marriage and tries to threaten her, but she becomes more reluctant to lose him. After he is left with no choice and tells his wife, Beth, about the affair and reports to the police that Alex is threatening his family. When all her attempts to capture Dan's attention fail, she becomes even more dangerous. She plots a way to get into Dan's home and attempts to murder Beth and Dan with a huge kitchen knife. Shockingly, while Alex is about to kill Dan, Beth appears and shoots Alex in the chest, killing her. In the end, Dan, Beth, and their daughter Ellen can live a happy life again.
Alex Forrest's character in Fatal Attraction demonstrates someone struggling with borderline personality disorder. Some of its symptoms include frantic efforts to avoid real or imagined abandonment, a pattern of unstable and intense personal relationships, identity disturbance, impulsiveness in at least 2 areas that are potentially self-damaging, recurrent suicidal behavior, gestures or threats, or self-mutilating behavior, affective instability due to a marked reactivity of mood with periods of extreme depression, irritability, or anxiety, usually lasting a few hours and only rarely more than a few days, chronic feelings of emptiness, inappropriate intense anger or difficulty controlling anger, and transient stress-related paranoid thoughts or severe dissociative symptoms. 2 specific symptoms that Alex's character struggles with are frantic efforts to avoid abandonment, which is shown through her trying to force Dan to stay at her apartment, and self-mutilating behavior when she cuts her wrists as Dan began to walk out on her. One symptom that is not obvious in Alex is transient stress-related paranoid thoughts. Although she is very troubled, Alex does not appear to be particularly paranoid throughout the movie. Cognitive behavioral therapy is the best way to treat a condition like Alex's because of its educational model, goal setting, and relationship between the patient and therapist. Fatal Attraction was accurate in its depiction of the symptoms of BPD, but everything with the disorder was extremely overdramatized and relatively unrealistic. This film was educational through its portrayal of borderline personality disorder's dangers to oneself and others, but again, it is exaggerated.
The disorder was treated very seriously, and the film does not require a lighter touch because of the naturally serious tone. We learn how dangerous this disorder can really be.
One scene that gives particular insight into the disorder is the moment when Alex rips Dan's clothes and yells at him for trying to leave, exhibiting her fear of abandonment. Another scene happens at the end of the movie when Alex confronts Dan's wife in the bathroom, becoming angry at her for ruining Alex's delusion of a life with Dan.
The film was entertaining because it was thrilling and made the audience think about the impact one choice can have. Yes, we would recommend it because the movie was very educational concerning the psychological disorder and very entertaining. We would recommend the addition of Finding Nemo to the list because of the main character suffers from PTSD, and it is a very fun and enjoyable movie.